Welcome to Yeshiva Daf. Shir sponsor Nishma Sami Akashom Nabasitzchok. We're holding in the last daf of Moicher Sasvino, Daf Tzadik Aleph, and this daf also has a lot of Gata. Today we'll focus on the Pashup Shah the Gemara, and Be'ez Hashem and the Shom Achshel on the daf. We'll try to dwell into some of the Nekudas over here. We're starting with the daf Tzadik Amud base in the bottom, 3 lines before the bottom. It says the Gemara Torah bottom. Emutzim Paris Meretz Yisrael Dvarim Shesh Beim Chai Nefesh. You don't take out from Eretz Yisrael food that's Chai Nefesh. Why? Because the simple understanding is why? Because you need it for Eretz Yisrael. I don't want to take it out. Kegoin, Yenos, wine, Shmonim, oils, saltos, which is flour. I read them the same Matir Bayayin, Pishimimayt is a tifla. It says wine, let it go out. Less wine, the better. I don't want people drinking too much. Tifla is basically, the Rambam says, meaning bad things come out with that. That's what it refers to over here. Okay, the same way now, take from Eretz to Chutzah, they don't go to Syria, even though Syria has some Kedusha to it. We don't go over there either. For every Matir, Rabbi says, you're allowed to what? That's like on top, which means that the city on the border to the city on the border of Syria you could do, because it's so close, it's fine. Here, there's a very interesting discussion in the Poskim. What about today? Can you take out things from Eretz to Chutzah?
There's enough. It's a circle.
So Shaila is, you rely on the fact that there's enough. You rely on the fact that maybe money that's coming to Eretz makes a big difference. You need it for the export. You need it for the parnasa. You know, we take out fruits for Eretz the whole time, right? Oranges of Eretz sold all over the world. There's an interesting discussion regarding a esrog. What about an esrog? Shrogim. That's what we do. Take a string right to show.
For mitzvah, there are mitzvahs, maybe.
Yes, so it's just different. The Marshal speaks about this question why this Gemara is not brought down in halacha shows why. Sigma Torah Abanon Ein Mistakrim is brought down halacha, but we don't pass halacha. Torah Abanon Ein Mistakrim but it's short but Dvarim Shesh Beim Chai Nefesh. Person should not make too much money. What does it mean? Ein Mistakrim? The Rashbam explains that don't have a double sale. Look at Lashon Rashbam. Ein Mistakrim, second Rashbam. The knois yain v'shem v'sotos ma'abal bais limkor b'shuk. Don't buy from an owner to sell in the market. Ela ba'al bais atzmo yimkor letzricha kamo sheyimkor lechinmoni. Let the owner sell. Umiu the knois chitin also spat mutek. Buy wheat to do flour. Kan ik het shor. Am the kor door bein kamo shekoy knois so ba'al bais osur. The bais na matziv lebilatech. In other words, we try to prevent a double sale. Every time you have another seller, you have another more profit, right? There's another line of another layer of profit. We want to avoid that. So what do? We do the owner sells, but not more. So if you don't make a double profit, wine, shmonim, oil, salt, flour. You could do money, double money from wine and oil. We said before that says wine, we are very happy to lose it. A lot of oils, he had no problem with it. So what does it mean? We'll see in a moment. And the beitzim is something the Rashbam says, because beitzim they don't have Chai Nefesh Kokach. So that's why they're allowed to be matir a little bit. So now mistaka pamayin. What does it mean? Literally double. Don't sell double the value, but less than you could. Which means don't sell it to a second seller. Tagor is the seller, is the businessman. Don't have another tagor, another merchant. Don't have a double merchant. So we said before. When you have that, when pramakta with the Bach adds over here, what it says in the Rashbam, pramakta shehuzlo. Suddenly the value went down. So you could do a straw, means you could daven for it in Shabbos. Fafil b'Shabbos, or you're going to klei pishtan b'bovel. Talk about linen in Bava, which is common. Wine oil to salt, also which is common and needed. What does it mean they went in value? Went down by 40%. Went from 10 to 6. That's a real problem, and that's when you grab the value down. So what Torah Bonon in Yoitzim Oretz L'chutz, you're not allowed to leave Eretz Yisrael. Elim Ken Amdusa Saying Besela. Unless they went down that the value you could buy with one seller, 2 sale. Meaning, you buy, it's so expensive that you need, with one sale you can buy only 2 sales. One sale, usually you can buy much more. If I can buy with one seller only 2 sales, that means everything's too expensive, then you can leave. That's only if he doesn't find, he's not able to purchase that. In other words, if he's able to, right, that he's able to buy it, he has money for that, he's able to find he's able to find this value.
He has the money, it's available.
It's available. So the reason the Toys asked will be, if you look at the last Toys of the parak, small Toys, so it is asked, so the Toys understands what tzalika means. Do I literally have? Am I able to find what to buy? So if I can't find, who cares what's the value? You tell me you could buy $1 million for $1, but I don't have $1 million to buy. So the words that you can't find, even if the value is, if you're able to find, even if it's very expensive, you stay. Elimelech is the father. Machlon v'Kilion were the sons in the story of Rus. They were G'doi Le'ador, Parnos Le'ador Oyu. Why were they punished? Because left Eretz Yisrael, Shema v'Tohim kol ha'ir alem v'tomarno azois da'ami. Some of the Mepharshim, the Maharsha takes away the word Shenema. It's not Shenema, it's like another word, because it's not a riot what we said before. We'll see in a moment. When it says the whole city was very busy with them, and they said on Naomi, Zois Naomi? Ma Zois Naomi? Yitzchak Amru, Chazisem Naomi, Shiyotza, Mehoretz, V'chutzatz, Mahosolo. Hazois, look at them, what happened. What the Eretz Chutzatz, what happened? So here the question is a raya? The Machlon v'Kilion did something wrong, because it applies to Naomi, it applies to Machlon v'Kilion as well. Or not. Or it's something on its own. The day the Rus came to Yisrael makes a Ishta Shaboyas. So the wife of Boaz was Nifter. And now he needed a new wife. Until someone dies, there's already someone to replace it from his house. Not talking about there about necessarily wedding. Talking about someone who dies, there's already someone to take over care of his nechassan. Because Baruch is Messiah of that. So you made Rus came, but you have Rus came right when Boaz needed her. Avtzon is somebody who's mentioned in the beginning of Sefer Shoftim. I want to tell you that Avtzon and Boaz is the same person. My Kamash, what's a Chiddush? The other Nikud Rav Avuna said, Boaz made to his kids 120 mishtas. Why? In other words, he had 30 boys and 30 girls. So he went and he married the 30 boys, brought a woman into the house, and he sent his girls to marry people outside. So that was how many weddings? 60. That's the end of the pasuk. Each one of these weddings, he made 2 parties. One in the house of the father, one in the house of the Asher. And all of them, all these 120 parties, because there's 60 kids, each one had 2 weddings. So 2 times 60 is 120. It's a lot of weddings. He did not invite Manoach to the wedding. This kudno, which means the one who has no kids. So the kudno akaro is not able. It's going to be an ukker, a mule. An ukker who is unable to have kids. How is he going to pay me back? Right. So here, just to mention, and first you pointed out, what does it mean? So he invited only people that can pay him back.
All the people who invite him back.
Invite him back. So the Pasuk Pshat, many of us bring is that boy is did it he didn't want to go and embarrass. Make him feel bad. He's invited, he never get invited back. So he didn't invite him to the wedding. So the more Vitame Kula Mesu B'chayav. They all died in his lifetime. How do die mean? As people say, B'chayecho the Alad Shiti in Lamalach. The fact that in your life you have 60 kids, what does that help you? You have one extra that's greater than all of them. Boyaz, after all the 60 died, he had one more kid through Rus, and then from there, Kid David HaMelech was the king. So, the 60 basically did not achieve anything because they all died. Says the Gemara, it's interesting, just to mention that it's interesting that we're talking here about Manoach. Manoach is the father of Shimshon. Why is he Nagia over here? Okay. Right, so Elimelech is the husband of Noemi. The Salmon is another one. Uploini Almoini, we know Uploini Almoini is the one that is not willing to do the Yibum. Ve'avi Noemi, and the father of Noemi. Kulam b'nei Nachshon and Modavim. They all were the brothers, sons of Nachshon. Nachshon the Moshe Yehuda. My Kamash, what's a Chiddush? Shefilu Mishesh the Schus Avos Eina Midas Loi B'Shor Shiyotz and Metzor L'Chutzartz. Because the Melech went from Metzor L'Chutzartz, he lost all his Schus Sevim and the Schus Avos. Interesting Gemara. This was once a riddle in one of the Yeshiva questions. What is the name of the mother of Avraham Avinu? The Rishman tells us, it's based on the Gemara in a moment, that the Moshe tells us, the mini mask tells us, everybody, the whole husbands, wives, so who's the mother of Avraham Avinu? Everybody else we know. Who's the mother of Avraham Avinu? So we know the Father Shabbat Peh. Who's the mother of Avraham Avinu? Amtelai Bas Karnevu. Amtelai Bas Karnevu. The mother of Avraham. Ime de Haman. What's the name of the mother of Haman? Amtelai by Urvasi. Her name is Amtelai by Urvasi. Obviously, it means Esber. Why Avram and Haman, the mothers have the same name, and why are putting it together? And they adds one more thing. The Simonich, how you will remember which Amsalai was the mother of Avraham Avinu, which is Amsalai, the mother of Haman. Tamid, Tor. From the Tamid was a Tamid, from Tor was a Tor. So the Avraham Avinu's mother is Antelai Bas Karnevu. Karnevu is the name of the bird who's kosher. Right? Sorry, not a bird. Korin. Right? Sheep. And the mother and the Haman is the daughter. She's the daughter of Urvasi, Oyriv, a raven, which is Tamid. Okay. Says the Gemara. Ime de David, who's the mother of David HaMelech? Another name we don't know. Natzvas Bas Adael Shma. That's her name. Ime de Shimshon, who's the mother of Shimshon Gibber. Tzelelphonis, or we have another name over here, Hatzlelaponi. That, we don't have any kids named after them. Interesting why. V'achosei, and the sister of Shimshon, her name is, according to our Gisser, Nashon. The Gisser on the side is Noshik. The mind of Kamina, why we need to know his name? The Chua Semini. So that's what the Rashbam says. Look at the Rashbam. Chua Semini, Shalim Lanu Yoisim Eilu B'Nosh B'Cheres. They ask us, why you don't know the name? Everybody around you don't know. Maybe you're missing some of the history. We have it. Says the Gemara of Avraham Avinu. There's 10 years Avraham Avinu was captured, was in jail. 10 years he was in jail. Shalosh Bekuso, 3 years in the city of Kuso. Shalosh Bekardu, another Shev Bekardu. Now, what's the reason? The Rashbam says the reason is I want to show Avraham Avinu he was willing to sacrifice himself for Kadosh Baruch Hu. Omav Chizdo Ibro Zeiro de Kuso. This place called Ibro Zeiro de Kuso. Zeu Kazim. That's what Kazim. That's where Avraham Avinu had the fire. After Avraham Avinu was nifter, the all Gedoyle Ador came and stood on the line. Terrible for the world. Shavad and Tzagav on base Manhigoi. that the leader was gone, and over to the boat that its captain was gone. So here, just maybe to mention out that first you talk about that it really depends when the world is doing good or doing bad. When the world is doing good, it has the money. When the world is doing bad, you have a boat that's saved. It's like the boat of the Mabul that's saved throughout all the storms, and then you have a Kavayin. Avinu can lead the world in peace or in when there's a disaster. This is a big aside. Not that a few times in Shas that any sroro, any importance, any person who's in charge on something, that is all coming from Shemayim. Even being the head of the one who's in charge on the bar to decide who draws water from the bar. Very small sroro also comes from Shemayim. Even we're going back to Elimelech and Nachlon and kill you. Oh, even if find the small, the very bad wheat would not go. They had nothing to eat. So why would they punish? The problem was they didn't daven for the generation. When you daven, then you will be saved. When you go with Am Yisrael, you daven. You should daven for Am Yisrael. Okay, so now the Gemara says when it goes down, when we said if the value goes down a lot, so then you could what thing I just mentioned, means kibbutzim, when you call Kishbuch to mikabetz everybody, then you have atzal. So says the Gemara, what we're talking about, in other words, you have money is available, but the fruits are very expensive. So you need to go and spend a lot of money on fruits. But if the money is expensive, meaning the value of currency went up, even if it's very cheap to buy fruits, you buy with one seller for sale, still yotze. Why? Why yotze? Because that means the money is too expensive, it's very hard to survive. Says the Gemara, I'll tell you why is that, where do we find this thing? That when money is too expensive, things are a disaster. I remember. I remember that it was very cheap to buy flowers. For sale. In one seller. And there was plenty of nefichi means loaded from hunger. I mean, when they become very fat because of hunger. But it's very because they had no money. When the money is too expensive, you don't have money. It doesn't matter if you have a lot of food. So that now the Gemara mentioned this idea of memory. So we mentioned all the memories. I remember people did not want to go work in the east side of the city because the smell of the bread was so strong. They didn't have money to buy bread. They died from the smell. I remember the first two were klolo, the bad things he remembers. Those are very happy things. I remember when a child cut down a carrot. They have a nogid chut of the dusha trained drawing. Honey came out on both his hands. There was so much honey in the fruits. From Abelazar says now. I remember Kadav Notil Oivra Bistro raven took meat. The nogid chut of the mishcha, and oil, fat came out of it. Mirei shura ve'adlar, from the top of the wall to the bottom. It was full of fat. From Abelazar, I remember Kadav Metailim Talyo ve'Talyoso beShuko. I remember that a young boy and a girl were walking in the street. 16 and 17-year-old. So part of Shah is the first point out over here. They were able to overcome the Yitzhar. The Yitzhar wasn't so strong. I mean, they were controlling the Yitzhar. So a boy and a girl did whatever they're supposed to do. Mitzad Tzidkus, now Mitzad doing Averis. Nothing I remember. They said, and anybody who agrees to the goyim, enough will be down, he will be captured by them. The mechatzel, someone who relies on them, so then delay, whatever is his will be theirs. In other words, then they didn't have any relationship with the goyim, and they didn't rely on them. Okay, says the Gemara. It says, the pasuk brings in Divrei Yomim, V'yov Yisrael v'shebolu l'moyov. Right? So the word instead talk about Machal V'Kilin. So what is the name? Rav Shmuel Chadon Machal V'Kilin Shvon. They're really called Machal V'Kilin. Lama Nikra Shmo Yoish Yisrael. Well, why do they have a nickname? Yoish Yisyash from Geula, the Geula from Geula. So she tried to stray for Lamoka because they left Eretz Yisrael. Chadoma Yoish Yisrael Shvan. Now in real names, Yoish Yisrael. Lama Nikra Shmo Machal V'Kilin. Why are the names of Machal V'Kilin? Machal Shasu Gufon Chulin. They're going to Chutzaretz. Chilin she is Chayvu Klayer Lamoka. Chayv Misa. So different drushes. Tanya Kavadom Machal V'Kilin. So if we read a raya, the real name is Machal V'Kilin. Tanya Ma'idikti V'Yoikiv and Shmanche Kuzivo. V'Yoyash V'Sarv Asher Bo Lulin Moyav. V'Yish B'Lechem Ad V'Matikim. That's a pasuk and Divrei Yom. And this pasuk is all drushes. Dash in the whole pasuk. So it's like this. Yoikim, who's there as a Yeshua, Shekim Shmuel and Shegivon. He kept the Shmuel and Shegivon and he didn't kill them. They lied to him, and that's who didn't kill him. You see, you have a show the Machal. We see what's the real name. Machal V'Kilin. Yavishov is only a nickname. Yoshi Siashu Ben Geula, so should Chayvu Srei for Lamuk. Asher Ba Lula Moyev, what's Ba Moyev? Shnasu Noshim Aviyois. They married Noshim Aviyois. V'ish Bilechem, who's Ish Bilechem? Zerusa Moyavio, Sheshava Ben Bekal Beis Lechem Yehudo. She connected B'Sam Yehuda to Boyaz, and that's why the Melch came after her. Dvarim Atikin, Dvarim Alolu Atik Yomin Omer. Already Atik Yomin means that the Torah already said it. Chim Atzasi, I mean, Kishboch already mentioned it. Chim Atzasi, David Abdi, V'chtish to V'sechel Nimtzois, and the Torah mentions Hanimtzois, referring to David Melech, telling you that all this was known in advance. Continues now the Gemara, we mentioned this drush, this pasuk, so we dash another pasuk Divrei Yomim. What is the next pasuk? Heimo. Yoitzrim ve'yoitzrim netoim ugedera im hamelech v'nachto yoshu sham. So it says the Gemara, Ima yoitzrim v'bnei yondov b'nei rochov shenot shusavim. Their father gave him a shul that they should not to drink wine, not to build houses. They kept it. Yoitzrim netoim was that the shloim shedoim l'netiyah malchusay. They grew like a netiyah, right? The Gedera is the Sanhedrin should go to Pitusem Shesuah. That's the Sanhedrin that made sure the Am Yisrael will have the princes will be closed. She saw the Malchus of Shleimoy, so with the Melech she was there. That was Melech with Loshen Eima Melech. Ben B'noi Shabem Nosh. It might be Asakisa Le'ema Melech. Amlozo Le'ima Shalachas, the mother of the Malchus. So Eima Melech refers to that as well. Now the some want to bring a right, this kind of with Dova Yadua, people know the fifth generation. It's a big school of Chazamim and for Kariyat Chazmesim. Some of it comes from here. You see that the big bracha the Rus had, so she saw the grandson of her grandson. So what talking about Yoshon? It says in the pasuk in Bechukosai, you'll eat Tvua Yoshon beloy Salamanto. You won't have Salamanto. My beloy Salamanto. What is that? I'm not going to beloy Retzimso. You won't have a worm eating it up. His own beloy Shadif, it won't be dried up. Tagan said that Shadif, Tagan said that Benach. Tagan said that Benach. Vachadim Yoshon Yochol Yisom Mitzavim L'Chodesh Meyoshon Shekole. When you tell me that the Yoshon will eat the old, there'll be nothing left, and people say, please, let's have more grain. You're not going to need more. You can have enough. So what do you see from here? That Yoshon means old. Do you think because the Yoshon got spoiled, meaning got bad? Sorry, the first one is Shekola. Shekola means it was eaten by a worm. Shira means because it dried out. So that's the two Yoshons. Say one now. The older it is, better. That's usually things that you keep them to get old. You store them for a long time. The Eretz Yisrael was better. They always add old. They had all the storage houses was full of old grain. And all the gruanos, the place where they filled the new grain, was full. They had a problem. They had to get rid of the old to put the new, because the new would last for long. But they had to get rid of it. So the Gemara concludes the paragraph. Everything which is old is better. Lavar mitamre, which is dates. Veshicho, which is vinegar. Varasana, which is old fish. Everything else is good, or everything else is good in Eretz Yisrael. You have to understand the mile of good old. We'll leave it maybe for the Shom Shava. With this, Hadron Allah Chamoiches Asfino, Hadron Allah Chamoiches Asfino Be'ez Hashem. It's a very big parak, very important parak. Be'ez Hashem. Continue with the next parak in tomorrow's daf. Call to Rabbi Isaac.